Hey there, Damon DeMarco here from CreateX3.com. What do you know about heroes? If you're a writer or just somebody who's interested in human nature, you're going to want to pay very, very close attention to this. But before we continue, hit subscribe and ring the bell that's somewhere along here. That way you'll get notified of every video that I make. I generally make them once a week, but sometimes I slip up because I'm busy, so okay. Okay. Oh, and stay with me to the end because that's when I have this little gift that I'd like to offer you. It's very important to me and I think you're really going to enjoy it. Remember that part. Hero! The word comes to us from the Greek heros. I'm probably mispronouncing that. Meaning protector or defender. Small wonder that so many police departments around the country have that as their motto, to protect and to serve, or some variation thereof. Another variation of that is present in the United States Constitution, Article 2, Section 1, Clause 8, the oath of office. And it reads as follows: I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. Now, throughout this video, I'm going to use the word hero in its gender-neutral capacity, meaning that it does not refer to a male or a female or anyone anywhere on that spectrum. I use the term in the context of doctor, actor, writer, technician, gender-neutral, okay? From a storytelling point of view, the most important thing about a hero is that they face adversity with courage, strength, and ingenuity. Now, the definition of what a hero really is has changed as the years have gone by and cultures have shifted around, and therefore cultural morals and expectations have shifted around. In olden days, a hero was typically someone who triumphed over challenges militarily. However, more modern definitions of what a hero is have shifted toward people who solve problems using what I'll call interior might. Give you an idea here, take a look at the Merriam-Webster definition of what a hero is. It's right there. A hero is a mythological or legendary figure, often of divine descent, endowed with great strength or ability. These are kind of more the historical, the older, ancient definitions of what a hero is, but take a look at how this progresses. A person admired for achievements and noble qualities. One who shows great courage. The principal character in a literary or dramatic work, the central figure in an event, period, or movement. So, according to these definitions, we're dealing with the mythological people like Achilles and Hector from the Trojan War. Do you remember those guys? And Odysseus, who was both in the Iliad and the Odyssey. And Gilgamesh and Joan of Arc. Again, these people triumphed over obstacles militarily, for the most part. These days, if you think of the Marvel Universe, we think of a hero as being somebody who has outsized powers, who fights against other people who have outsized powers. But is this really where we want to focus as storytellers? I'll give you a hint. Every time I make that face or do that whole rhetorical question thing, the answer is no. No, it's not. Don't do that. When we're writing a story, the most important thing to understand about a hero is that their whole reason for being, their entire dramatic purpose is to give the audience, either the reader or a viewer, a doorway into the story. In most cases, not every case, but in most cases, the hero is the protagonist, which is another Greek word. Proto meaning first, antagonistes meaning actor. So it's the primary actor in the stories. Now I can say that with a straight face because I have a master's degree in drama. The point being that the hero is the figure of the story that we, the audience, identify with. We psychologically map ourselves onto that person and follow that person as our host through the entire story. Through a subtle act of transference, we merge our experiences, our outlooks, our likes and our dislikes with those of the hero. Their story becomes our story. And by making this act of psychological transference, we satisfy the age-old compact of why human beings tell stories to each other in the first place. Are you ready for it? It's not just that we want to be entertained. We want to receive advice on how to live better, on how to triumph over great adversity with grace, generosity, and success. So you see, a hero is a lot more than somebody who is very muscular or very beautiful or wears a cape. No, no. The hero is, in essence, our surrogate, our teacher, and our guide. What happens to them happens to us. What they experience, we experience. What they learn, we learn. Where they triumph, we triumph. And just as importantly, where they are wounded, we too are wounded. Understanding this relationship between the audience and the hero is positively crucial when you are crafting a good story. The more identifiable we make our heroes, the more relatable they are, the more likable they are. Even when they do things that are questionable or repugnant, the deeper the hooks you sink into your audience's souls, and the more likely it is that your story is going to seize hold of them and give them a good hard shake. See what I did there? I shook people. Now this means that in most cases, there's an exception for every rule, and we'll cover that in later videos, but in most cases, your hero should not be two-dimensional. If anything, your hero should display qualities that are in some way universal to everyone reading or watching. I say reading or watching because when we deal in story, the ultimate translation of that story could be a book, it could be a play, it could be a screenplay, it could be a television pilot. Once you nail the story down, you can translate the story into any of these mediums. And please, make sure you understand, I don't mean just good qualities when I mean relatable qualities. No. Bad qualities, so-called bad qualities, can also be very relatable. As a matter of fact, when you think about yourself or when you think about the people close to you, don't we always kind of ascertain these people in terms of their good qualities and their bad qualities at the same time? Of course we do. It's natural. Your hero should be no different. In other words, in order for your hero to be relatable, they must have flaws. They must have blind spots. They must have weaknesses. In fact, I hear that's the reason that DC Comics came up with the notion of kryptonite for Superman in the first place. Think about it. You've got this character here who is arguably the most important, most powerful person on the planet, perhaps even the universe. Faster than a speeding bullet, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. What's interesting about that? As a dear writer friend of mine says, that's a healthy helping of yawn pie slathered in snore sauce. In other words, who the hell cares? The more powerful a character is, the less we tend to care about them. Unless they show some kind of offsetting tendencies. Character traits that threaten to make their really good qualities really bad qualities. Qualities that threaten to make their omnipotence less important or, in very interesting cases, a threat. So what I'm saying is that it's more than okay to let your heroes be paranoid or lustful or angry or wounded psychologically or physically, to be cynical or the opposite polarity, which is idealistic in the extreme. The more complicated a character is, the more contradictory or paradoxical their behavior should be. And the more we will tend to identify with them because, let's face it, they're interesting. Also, not for nothing, as we say in my native New Jersey, aren't we pretty much all like that? No human beings are all good or all bad. Human beings are rather chiaroscuro. It's a lovely word that hints at the admixture of light and darkness to create subtle but interesting shades, depths, and images. Therefore, when crafting your characters, it is absolutely important to make them complex, to imbue them with interior conflicts that mimic the exterior conflicts that they're trying to push through or solve. Once you identify your hero's interior conflicts, really all you have to do to make a story compelling is make sure that they are constantly working towards solving that problem and failing miserably at it in most cases. Their whole adventure should be about which one of their conflicting qualities is eventually going to dominate their character. Literarily, we call this conflict the characters face adversity. And listen, when crafting your characters, you cannot afford to wimp out on adversity. I work with a lot of writers as a teacher and as a story consultant, and let me tell you, the first mistake that most writers make is that they are too nice to their characters, too nice to their hero. No, this hurts your story because you're not giving your characters, your hero, enough tough choices to make. Don't do that. Okay, I'll give you some examples. Romeo and Juliet. The heroes of this Shakespearean tale are faced with the decision to act on their star-crossed love and to follow through with it regardless of consequence, or they could lead the normal humdrum lives as prescribed for them by their parents, their families, who, again, not for nothing, hate each other. Essentially, what Romeo and Juliet are tasked to explore is whether they want to live with an age-old conflict that they really don't believe in, or chuck everything and go for it, kids. Have fun with your life. Fall in love. Not just love, mad, passionate love. The kind that, well, they only write plays and poems about. Thanks, Bill Shakespeare. You know, the result of that little thought experiment is so shocking, so engrossing, that we are still producing Romeo and Juliet, what is it, 500, 600 years after it was written? It's got legs. Or what about George Orwell's 1984? Who is the hero there? His name is Winston Smith. If you have not read this book yet, you must go out right now and get a copy of it. I will wait. I will sit right here and I'm going to wait. Are you back yet? Have you read it? Good. Now we can talk about it. Winston Smith grows up in a world where the truth is being inexorably killed by a government bent on controlling people's minds. Sound familiar? Sound familiar? Sound familiar? He and his colleagues take a stand against that. They begin to do things that support the truth, but which fly in the face of these crazy government dictums, until, that is, they get caught. In the end, Winston Smith has to make the ultimate choice: to protect the woman he loves, or to protect his own life, to cave in to the thought crimes that the government's one-party system insists that he's committed, or to stick with what he knows is the truth, and suffer the outrageous consequences of that. George Orwell's masterpiece was published in 1949. It's more than 70 years old. And if you ask me, it's never been more prescient, more important, more dead-on than ever. Small wonder it's considered a literary classic the world over. And small wonder it boasts one of the most interesting heroes you'll find. Why is Winston Smith interesting? Because of the conundrum that he finds himself in, and because of the choices he is forced to make. It's not that he can bench press a Volkswagen. It's not that he holds the fate of the entire world in his hand, or the galaxy, or the whatever Marvel movie stuff they're going to come up with next. No, he holds something far more prescient and relatable than that in the palm of his hand, and that is the choice between knowing what he knows is the truth and lying because other people tell him he has to lie. So who's your favorite hero? Why do you like them? I want to know. I want you to write it down in the comments right down there below. Heroes and the understanding of heroes plays a very, very huge part in crafting not only a story that satisfies, but a story that sells. This is the part in the video where I said I gave you a free gift. I have put together an online course that you can take at your own pace. It's called Break Your Story. You'll be learning the same techniques that I've used to help Pulitzer Prize winners and National Book Award winners tell the very best stories they're capable of. And that story can later be translated into a novel. It can be translated into a screenplay, a stage play, a TV pilot. It doesn't matter what you're working on. They all depend on the same thing: story. And that's all available to you right now. The gift that I want to give you is a preview of that entire course. It's going to give you steps that you can take to improve your writing right now. And if you're interested in that, just ask me for the link in the comment section and I will send it to you. It's as simple as that. Once again, for createx3.com, I'm Damon DeMarco. Thank you so much for watching. Stay happy, stay healthy, and stay creative.